The entertaining Talking Sports.
What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video. And in this video, I kind of just wanted to reassess the potential trade market for the New York Giants, being that I've talked about in the past that it would be optimal if the New York Giants were able to trade down in this year's draft and still get their offensive tackle or still get Isaiah Simmons or whoever it may be, being that the New York Giants kind of sat in a prime position since they don't need a quarterback, and there were a bunch of teams behind the Giants before free agency that certainly needed one. But after free agency, that list has shrunk dramatically. And we're going to have to wait and see how it all plays out, but their potential suitors have definitely changed after free agency. And I wanted to go, through that in this video and kind of look at their potential trade partners and what it might take for those teams to want to move up and grab their quarterback. And I guess talk about, what I think the New York Giants could receive in each individual scenario. So before free agency, I thought that there were 7 teams that the New York Giants could potentially partner up with if they were looking to trade down, accumulate more assets, and still take their offensive linemen. That was the Dolphins at 5, the Chargers at 6, the Panthers at 7, the Jaguars at 9 and 20, the Raiders at 12 and 19, and then, of course, the Bucs and the Colts, who were picking back-to-back at 13 and 14. But a lot of those teams' fates have changed due to free agency and bringing in quarterbacks or trading out of their picks. The Colts did both. We'll start there. The Colts, I think, were picking at 13. They traded that pick to the 49ers for DeForest Buckner, and they acquired Phillip Rivers. So that knocks them out. That knocks you down to 6 teams. The Tampa Bay Bucs, of course, acquired Tom Brady. And some may argue, well, maybe they still want to get the quarterback of the future because Brady's 43. But if you're bringing in Tom Brady with the weapons they already have in place, this was a team, that definitely improved last year. They're trying to win. And if you're trying to win with Brady on your roster, you're not drafting a quarterback. And Brady wouldn't have went there if that was the case. He's trying to win Super Bowls at this point in his career. He wouldn't have agreed to sign on with a team that was looking to draft a quarterback. So that crosses them off the list. The Raiders went out there and they acquired Marcus Mariota. Now, maybe Mariota's a guy that they're bringing in there to compete or mentor a young quarterback. Of course, Carr is still there as well. I would be surprised, though. Now, I don't know the contract details with Mariota. It didn't come out I checked maybe 5 or 6 hours ago. It still didn't come out, but, maybe it has since then. But I would still be a little surprised if the Raiders were to try to trade up to get a quarterback. I suppose it's still a possibility, but they kind of sit in a competitive AFC West. They brought in a veteran quarterback with Mariota. I'd be surprised. Raiders have 2 draft picks. I think they're going to try to improve their roster, and if it doesn't work out, maybe they draft a quarterback next year. But I'm kind of crossing them off the list, which knocks you down to 4 teams. The Carolina Panthers sit at 7. The Panthers signed Teddy Bridgewater to a 3-year, $63 million contract. So I wouldn't think they're looking to spend that kind of money on Bridgewater, even though it's only a 3-year deal. Maybe you get out after 2, but I don't think so. I don't think they're looking to move up. So that leaves me with 3 potential teams, and they sit at 5, 6, and the Jaguars at 9 and 20. Now, of course, the Jaguars would be a prime destination, and if the Giants were to trade out of 4, that's what I would expect from Jacksonville. I would expect the 9th and the 20th selection. The thing with Jacksonville, they've come out and they've announced that Gardner Minshew is their quarterback. They, of course, traded away Nick Foles. But Jacksonville is clearly in rebuild mode, and maybe if one of these quarterbacks were to blow them away, they'd be willing to move up. Do I think they will? I don't know. Minshew was pretty effective last year, even though it was a very bad team, and they don't really have a foundation there either. It looks as if they're completely blowing that team up. Maybe if they're enamored with Justin Herbert or Tua, they will be willing to move up, but I really doubt it. And I don't even really view them as a potential trade partner. I would say more than the others I've mentioned, but still not a very realistic trade partner, which kind of leaves you with the Miami Dolphins and the LA Chargers. And because all those other teams aren't looking to move up and get a quarterback at this point in time, I don't even really see it as being a very realistic possibility that the Giants are going to be able to trade out. The only way they're going to be able to trade out is if one of those 2 teams thinks that the other team may take their quarterback, and if that's the case, you may get a trade down scenario. But I'm not expecting anything extravagant at this point in time. After what happened in free agency, it kind of changed the entire landscape. And as far as the Dolphins and the Chargers go, I've said it many times, if I'm trading down from 4 to 6 with the Chargers, I'd expect the 37th selection and either a future 3rd or 2nd pick. And with the Dolphins, because it's only 1 spot, I'd probably expect their earliest 2nd-round pick to go along with their 5th and maybe like a future 4th or 5th. But you're not getting much more than that. But of course, it still makes a ton of sense for the New York Giants to trade down in either one of those scenarios. Because if you trade down to 5, the Dolphins are clearly moving up to get a quarterback. You're still getting your guy, whether it was the tackle or whether it was Simmons. And if you're trading down to 6, it's probably the same exact scenario, because if the Chargers move up to get a quarterback, the Dolphins probably take the other one. And then you still get your player, whether it was Isaiah Simmons or an offensive tackle. Of course, Simmons could be off the board at 3. But because of all of this, I do view it as a much more likely scenario that the New York Giants will end up with Isaiah Simmons on draft night. I am still one that says that I would probably lean towards the offensive tackle, but I'm definitely not shying away from Isaiah Simmons either. I recognize that this guy has a world of ability and would help this defense going forward. The Giants then would obviously have to, focus heavily on the offensive line in the later rounds. But if you ask me today, I don't know if I would go if I'm going to mock Simmons to the Giants yet in my my new mock draft in a couple of days. But it's certainly much more likely than I would have thought of. Even though they spent a lot of assets on that linebacker position, they still could very well go tackle there, though. I'm not ruling that out, and I will not rule that out until draft night. It's going to be a very interesting, 3 or 4 weeks leading up into the draft, reading rumors, hearing rumors about the New York Giants, because they could really go either way. But I do not view the New York Giants right now to be in the same position that they were just 3 or 4 days ago in terms of having this really valuable pick. I just don't. I don't think a lot of teams are going to be looking to move up to get a quarterback, and you may even see a guy like Love fall all the way down to the Patriots at 23 after all that's happened here with all these quarterbacks switching teams. We're going to have to wait and see. Of course, they said they're going with Jarrett Stidham, but I think the Giants are going to end up staying at 4. We'll have to wait and see, though. As always, guys, if you liked what you watched, please subscribe, drop a comment, maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.